of recruit, recruitment and enrollment for Northeastern University, based out of our brand new campus in Miami, Florida. Just a little bit about myself. This is my 6th year in higher education, working in recruitment and enrollment. I am about to complete 1 full year at Northeastern University. I'm the 3rd longest tenured member of our Miami campus. Like I said, it is a brand new campus. We just opened this past fall of 2023 with our first intake. So this fall 2024 will be our 2nd year. We hope many of you will join us in our programs. During this time, I am going to go over our campus, the surrounding areas, some demographics about Miami, our programs that we offer. And then towards the end, I'll turn it over to Harsh to go over some of the next steps for you students that have been admitted. Before we get into the meat and potato of the conversation, there is a code of conduct that I do want to bring to your attention. You can read through most of this, but I will go over the bullet points. The university seeks to provide a supportive environment that is conducive to learning, the pursuit of truth, the exchange of knowledge, the intellectual development of students, and the general good of society. The code applies both on and off campus to all Northeastern University students. Please keep in mind that once you agree and you sign on to attend Northeastern University, you are a representative of our institution in the classroom, but also out on the streets, at work. Wherever you go, you are still a representative of Northeastern University. The university reserves the right to adjudicate an accepted student who allegedly engages in prohibited conduct prior to matriculation. Just because you are accepted doesn't guarantee you a spot. We can still remove your acceptance based off of things we find out, conduct that's detrimental to the university. We've had students before that have submitted fraudulent transcripts to try to get in. If we do find out any of those things, we can adjudicate your acceptance. Students are expected to respect the rights and privileges of other university community members and their guests. Exceptionally disruptive students will be removed from the webinar. I do not anticipate that being a problem today. Like Harsh mentioned before, if you do have a question, we are not going to take live questions during the presentation. Please put it in the Q&A. He'll be monitoring it. When he presents, I'll be monitoring it, and then we'll save time at the end for any questions you may have. And then this link, that's where you can go to find out more information. Now, this is not specific to Miami, but Northeastern University, a global research university. We do have 13 campuses across the US, UK, and Canada. I will go over the locations of those campuses. Like I said, I'm in Miami, which is the newest one, but there are campuses found regionally all over the country and really all over the world. We have over 300,000 alumni throughout 181 countries, over 3,000 partners worldwide. When it comes to co-ops and internships, Northeastern University is ranked #1 in the country. We handle that process just a little bit differently than everybody else, but we will have time for that at the end of the presentation. And we are listed as an R1 research university. Our locations, as I mentioned, we're not just domestic, we are international. So I represent the Miami campus, which is the 13th and newest campus. But 125 years ago, the Boston campus opened, and in between then, we've opened campuses all over. Portland, that is not Portland, Oregon, that's Portland, Maine. Vancouver, London, and Toronto are our international campuses, so both Vancouver and Toronto located in Canada, and London, which is in the United Kingdom. Domestically, we have some campuses on the East Coast, which would be Charlotte and Arlington, along with Miami. And then out on the West Coast, Seattle, Oakland, San Francisco, and Silicon Valley. Now, there are only 3 campuses that offer undergraduate admissions. I believe most of you are graduate students, but there are 3 campuses that offer bachelor's degrees, which would be the Boston campus, the London campus, and our campus out in Oakland. So we have 1 international campus that offers undergrad, 1 on the East Coast, and 1 on the West Coast. The rest of our campuses are graduate campuses alone. So Vancouver, Seattle, San Jose, Toronto, Arlington, Charlotte, Portland, and of course, Miami. Now, Miami is a very unique place because of our diversity. There are 2 different Miamis. There's the city of Miami, which is about 450,000 people total. And then there's Miami-Dade County, which is one of the 10 largest counties in the country that has over 6 million residents. Now, one of the things that makes Miami different than most cities is almost 60% of our residents are foreign born. So that means only about 40% of the people that live in Miami were born in the United States. Because of our location, we are a gateway to Latin America and the Caribbean. So we do have a lot of residents that come from Caribbean islands like the Bahamas, Jamaica, Trinidad, and then Latin America, places like Colombia, Venezuela. Even though it's not a international country, it is considered U.S. territory. We also have a lot of residents from places like Puerto Rico. Now, some fun facts about Miami-Dade. Over 6 million residents and over 6,000 square miles. Like I said, 60% are native born and 40% are foreign born. Some of our demographics, we are 45, almost 46% Hispanic, about 30% white, 18% African American, and then about 2.5% Asian. Some economic indicators about Miami. 86% of our residents do have high school diplomas. Only about 34% have completed their undergraduate degree, and only about 13% of our residents have completed an advanced degrees, a master's degree or PhD. So where we're located in Miami is an area called Wynwood. Wynwood is a very interesting area because it used to be an industrial warehouse area. And about 20 to 25 years ago, it started to filter into being part of our design district, and now is considered the art district in Miami. About 5 or 6 years ago, with the tech boom that started happening in Miami, it then became the finance tech district in Miami. So where we're located is close to about 400 different businesses. A lot of companies are moving their and migrating their offices to Miami, and this is the area they're moving to, which is why we decided to bring our campus to this area. Another reason is, our campus does not come equipped with dorms. We do not have our own residential halls. There are 2 apartment buildings within a block of our campus, but outside of that, there are not many areas to live within walking distance of the Miami campus. So our campus is one of the few areas in Miami that does have mass transit. Our city is not like New York. It's not like Washington, D.C. that has these subways and these bus systems that can take you around. We do have buses, but they're not as easy to get on. They're large transit buses that you may need to take 3 or 4 of them to get where you're going. So our campus is an area where we have the Wynwood trolley that can take you around. We have the Metro Rail and Metro Mover that can get you within a few blocks of our campus. And there is a large train called the Brightline that goes all the way from Orlando to Miami. And the drop-off station is about 1.5 miles away from our campus. We do have a relationship with Uber, and we're trying to get students discounts if you do need to Uber. And we're also working out deals with the apartment buildings that are within our vicinity to reserve rooms for students that do need to find housing. Unfortunately, even if we do get you the housing, it will not come with a meal plan. But where our campus is located, there are hundreds of restaurants within walking distance. There are about 15 on our street alone. So this is an overhead view of what our campus looks like. It is small. We have 4 classrooms. You can see 2 in the top right-hand corner. Those 2 are connected with an air wall. Our goal is to be able to hold large meetings and conferences on our campus just to bring life to the area. So that wall in the middle can be removed to set up a bigger area. Then, like I said, we have classrooms in the top left and the bottom left-hand corners of the screen. In the bottom right-hand corner is a conference room. Next to it is a phone booth. We have a kitchen. We have prayer rooms, mother rooms, lockers. We have meeting rooms, open collaboration rooms throughout our campus. So while it's under construction and it's almost complete, one thing I did want to share with you is that our campus is going to be very Miami looking. And by Miami looking, I mean tropical colors, Yellows, reds, pinks, greens, everything is going to be very tropical looking. So this is some of the artwork that will be displayed in our campus. And as I go through the slides, you'll see that it is going to be very colorful and vibrant. This is the front view of our entrance. So when you walk into our campus, this is exactly what you'll see. You'll see some open meeting rooms to the left and the right, and some closed meeting rooms directly in front of you. Now, we are in a shared building. So we're in a 8-story building, which our offices take over the 3rd floor, and our campus is on the 5th floor. For your safety and for the safety of everybody in the building, every student and everybody that works in the building has a key card. That key card only allows you on the floors that you're supposed to be on. So if somebody's working on the 2nd floor, their access will not give them availability to get up the elevator to the 5th floor, to get into the doors of the 5th floor, or to get into our campus. It's just not how it works. So only the people that belong on the 5th floor, which is our students, faculty, and staff, will have access to our campus. Now, let's say the situation arises where you're riding the elevator, you push the button for the 5th floor, it allows you up, somebody else gets off with you. We have security at the front desk to check people that are coming in, so you must have your Husky ID with you at all times. We provide that as an extra layer of security just to ensure that the only people on our campus are people that are supposed to be there. So this is the front view of it. Now, when you come in and you look to the left, this is some open collaboration areas. To the far left is a full kitchen. We have a big refrigerator, microwave, stove, oven if you need to prepare food, if you bring your own food, if you need to reheat food, if you need to store drinks. We have all of that there for you. On every floor of the building is a coffee machine. I think it's about $2.50. So you can go and get coffee on any floor of the building. The great thing about working in this shared space is they have staff there that handle the dishes, that handle all of that stuff. So you can go and get your own cup of coffee, or we have them available in the building. Now, this is when you come in. This is what our campus looks like when you walk through the front doors. Here's another open area. This is one of our quiet zones, actually. So this is an area, let's say you're taking an online class and you're just using our campus as a resource for the day. You can come here with your headphones and you have a little bit of a bigger space to work with. Now, this space, we call it like our library space. We expect this area to remain quiet. We do have other conference rooms and open collaboration spaces, which you can make noise and you can meet with people. This is kind of our quiet zone. So the students that are doing online, maybe have a Zoom meeting, want to study in peace, we have this area for you. And then finally, this is what our classrooms look like. If you'll notice, all of the desks and chairs have wheels. That way we can move things around depending on what's going on. Sometimes like I said, the air wall to the left, we'd like to open that. Sometimes it have huge meetings. That way we can move the desks and chairs around. We leave it up to the professors to decide how they want to instruct that day. So they may want to do more of a U-shaped business type meeting where they're in the middle and everybody's kind of gathered around them. So it allows us the flexibility to move things around. This is an overview of Wynwood. Like I said, Wynwood is the art district of Miami. The beautiful thing about it is the walls are covered in artwork. Every bit of wall space throughout the 5x5 or 6x6 blocks of Wynwood is covered in graffiti art. We have artists that are contracted out for different murals. They paint them all over Wynwood. And then restaurants, you're talking about hundreds of restaurants in this area. Some of my favorite that are close to campus, Coyo Taco is a 10-second walk from campus. Joe's Pizza, which was recently rated as an 8.2 by Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports. That's on the other side of our campus. Just down our street, we have Icon Mediterranean food. We have Doya, which is Greek food. We have Dunkanoo, which is Jamaican food. We have an Indian restaurant. We have Le Chick, which is a pub. And we have Louis Smash Burgers, Skinny Louis Smash Burgers, which is a burger joint. So all of that is right on our street. Uchi, which is a famous sushi restaurant in Miami, is 2 blocks away. There's no shortage of food. And because you're in Miami, they come from all over the place. There's Peruvian restaurants, Colombian restaurants, Cuban restaurants, all over. We're also walking distance from the Wynwood Walls. It's 2 blocks away. It's a museum of large walls that are graffitied and have art galleries inside. We are walking distance to Paradox and Super Blue Museum, which are also our museums. And then the questions that everybody asks, how close are you to the beach? Our campus is only about 5 miles away from Miami Beach, 6 miles away from South Beach. We're 6 miles away from Miami International Airport. We're 2 miles away from the Miami Heat Arena. We are a couple miles away from the finance and business districts of Miami, which is Brickell and downtown Miami. So we're really kind of in the center of everything that's going on in the city, and it gives you access to all of that. Because let's say you don't have a car, it's only a 10 or 15-minute Uber or Lyft ride away from you to get to these places. Now, the big reason why we decided to open our campus in Miami, Miami is the #1 city in the country for tech job growth and then tech job migration. Tech job migration essentially means that companies are moving and migrating their headquarters down to Miami, which is opening jobs for the local market. So what Northeastern University does, and I don't want to say we do it better than everybody else, but we do it pretty well, is we identify large markets that have employment gaps. And by employment gaps, I mean there's an area where there's an underwhelming amount of employment. They need more employees. They need to fill their staffs. And in Miami, that just happens to be in technical trades. So once Northeastern noticed that all those technical trades and jobs were open and how many of them were coming to Miami, it made sense to move and make a campus in Miami built on tech so that we can use our students to fill those jobs. We don't do it based off of student need or student want, because students may say, I really want to do psychology, and we get an overwhelming amount of students that tell me they want to do psychology. But there are so many psych students in Miami that are unemployed because there's just not enough jobs for them. So now we would oversaturate the market with more unemployed undergraduate and graduate students, and that's not the goal. The goal is not to give you a degree and then wish you the best of luck. It's to make sure that you're employed upon graduation. And the best way to do that is to establish markets where our students will have an easy access to jobs that are centered around their degree. And in Miami, it's tech. So we currently have 5 graduate programs. 2 of them are computer science. One is a business management and one is project management. But we're here to go over information systems because that is, I believe, the program of choice for the people in this meeting. So we currently offer 5. We are going to have more next year as we're going to bring in likely going to bring in some health sciences and some more tech trades. So for MSIS, we actually have 2 different programs. One is your typical MSIS. It's in information systems. It's for students that are looking to become network engineers, application developers. This is through our College of Engineering. So the difference between this and like a computer science degree is this is geared more towards students that are interested in engineering. We actually have a lot of matriculation from students that are doing like electrical engineering and have decided to jump into information systems as their graduate degree, which is fine. If you have an undergrad in an engineering field or in a tech field, you do have the correct pathway to get into the MSIS program. The other MSIS program we have is considered a bridge program. That's for students that do not have the engineering or technical background. You may be a psych student, you can be an education background, hospitality. You can come from all other fields. The program typically is about a year longer because you do take a year of bridge classes, which gets you prepared for the 1.5 years of graduate degree classes you are going to take. So it does give you the ability to jump right into a master's degree program, but it will take you a little bit longer because we have to give you the base for the master's program. This can be for direct entry, which means you just finished your undergrad degree and you're looking for a graduate degree program. This is also for our non-traditional students, people that have been out in the workforce for a number of years and are looking just to make a shift. Maybe it's monetary, maybe it's because you're looking for a new challenge, but we do have an overwhelming amount of students that are non-traditional, that are full-time parents that work full-time jobs and are looking just to make a shift later in their life to something that they want to do. And that's where the bridge program comes into place. I've seen a lot in the education field. We get a lot of teachers that apply to us for these programs because after being in the classroom for 10, 15 years, They don't want to do that for the next 15 or 20 years, and they're looking to make a change before it gets too late. We do have the flexibility to work with many different types of students. We have the students that want to be on campus all the time. And we have students that want a little bit more of a hybrid approach. So we do have the curriculum flexibility for both. And the big news is to celebrate the launch of the MSIS program in Miami, we're offering a 25% tuition discount for all students who enroll in the program for the fall. This is not a merit or need based scholarship. This is for all. So if you've been admitted and you accept your enrollment with Northeastern in Miami, this does not translate to other campuses. This is just for Miami. You automatically get a 25% discount, and that is for the duration of your degree. It's not just for year one. It is for the entirety and duration of your degree as long as you're a full-time student. So this is a new offer. It's something we're doing because our campus is new, and we want to make sure that we're offering the right pricing model. All students get this as long as you're coming to Miami. And that's an incredible amount, because if you do have some scholarships, this may be the discount you need to make this more affordable for you. Now, I mentioned we're first in co-ops and internships. I travel the road a lot. As soon as this is over, I'm driving 4 hours to Melbourne, Florida, to do a career and graduate fair tomorrow. I mention this all the time when I go to these career fairs and these graduate fairs, that what makes us special is we don't host these large table fairs and tell our students, go meet all 100 employers and hopefully one of them gives you a call back. It's unfortunate that a lot of schools do that, because those employers are going from school to school to school to school to school and meeting hundreds of students at each school for one open position. So what we do that makes it a little different is we have, at this point, nearly 3,000 partners where we can place you with one of our partners for your co-op. And what that means is, if you tell us that there's a certain field you're looking at, that you'd love to do software engineering, or even if you'd like to do coding, whatever it is that you'd like to do, we have partners that we can place you with for a semester to do your co-ops. Our co-ops are paid. So it's not a freebie. It's not free labor for the companies. We only do paid co-ops. So you work with our career services department. In my campus, we have 11 staff members. 2 of them, their entire job is partnerships and getting you these co-ops. So that way you don't have to worry about it. That's why when students graduate with their undergraduate degree from Northeastern University, 97% of them either have a job in their field within 6 months of graduating or have begun their graduate degree because of our co-op program. In the undergrad space, we have students that do 3 or 4 co-ops, because they'll do classes for a semester and they'll do a co-op for a semester. Then they'll do classes for a semester and then they'll do co-op for a semester. And they keep doing this because at the end of their degree, even though it may have taken them 5.5 or 6 years to get their degree, they have 3 or 4 different relevant work experiences listed on their resume. And isn't that what you're getting a degree for and going to school for? It's not just for a piece of paper. It's to set you up for your career and to get ready to work. If we can't get you there, then we failed you. You know, getting you a degree is just a piece of paper that allows you to work. Our job is to make sure that we've set you up for success, and that's why Northeastern is #1 at that. Now, back to Miami, because I love to talk about my city. Sports, if any of you are sports fans, in the United States, there are really 4 major sports, which is football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. We have a team in all of them, so there are sports year-round. Hockey, our Florida Panthers went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. Unfortunately, they lost in the finals. The Miami Heat, same thing, went to the NBA Finals last year. Unfortunately, they lost in the finals, but they did make it to the finals. Miami Dolphins and Miami Marlins were both playoff teams last year. So I say the big 4 in sports. However, in Miami, we have the most famous athlete in the world, and that's Messi. So our Inter Miami soccer team signed Messi last year to the richest contract in sports history. And now you come to Miami and you have all 5 of these. Soccer has kind of now overtaken our city as the big sport because of Messi. but we have all of that. So there are sports year round for you to attend. Outside of the beach, there are a lot of historical locations in Miami. Some of the things I like to point out to see the Freedom Tower. The Freedom Tower is special in Miami. It's like our version of Ellis Island. So when the Cuban Revolution happened, this is the building we used to process all the Cuban migrants that came over, and now it's a historical landmark for those that came over. The Everglades, our entire city, that's why we have no subway system. We are very close to sea level, and there's a lot of swampland around. So the Everglades stretch all the way from South Florida to Central Florida. So you can go there and take some of the boat rides, see the gators, the snakes out there. And then we have Vizcaya, which is where we do the Italian Renaissance every year. And then finally, Venetian Pool, which is the picture you have in the background. Funny fact about it, it was a rock quarry. It formed, and now it is the largest freshwater pool in the United States. So there's over 800,000 gallons of fresh spring water in this pool. There are caves, there are waterfalls. So it's just another thing to see while you're in Miami. Some of the local companies that we work with down here for co-ops, for internships, but also that are just based down here. Google has some headquarters down here. Chewy's headquarters are down here. That is the people call it the dog shop, but it is the place where you buy all your stuff for your pets. It's your pet superstore. Amazon has fulfillment headquarters down here. Baptist and Jackson are the two health systems down here. Florida Power and Light handles all the electricity for the entire state of Florida. We are the cruise headquarters in Miami, so we have Carnival, we have Royal Caribbean and Norwegian cruise lines down here. Verizon, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, all of these companies have headquarters in South Florida. Student services, what we provide for you. As a student, you get academic advising, obviously. Career services and experiential learning, that's our co-op program. Very important for you guys to start working with that department, career services department, early. For undergrad students, they can start doing their co-ops as soon as their sophomore year. For our graduate students, it's usually written in a specific semester of your curriculum that you would be doing your co-op, so it follows a pattern. And for our international students, Northeastern University is the second largest university in the country when it comes to percent of students that are international. So we have much more international students than we have domestic students, which is why we have a large visa and immigration support services office. This is to make sure that either you're getting your new I-20, or if you need to do a transfer of one because you're coming from a different school, they can support you in all those efforts. Like I said, our international population is second largest in the country. We're right there at the top. So we're used to dealing with students that come from many different backgrounds, many different countries, and we do supply services for you to ensure a smooth transition from whatever country you're from to Miami or to any Northeastern campus. So now I'm going to turn it over to Harsh, who's going to go over next steps for students that have been admitted to the program.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I see there's tons of questions coming in regarding application process, what are my next steps for admitted students and stuff like that. So this is definitely what we're going to discuss. Next slide. So this is what the roadmap looks like. So I know there's a few admitted students that have asked some questions. So one, we like to both congratulate you to your acceptance to Northeastern University at the Miami campus. I know some questions were regarding scholarships and all that. So in your admitted student portal, all students are reviewed for a merit-based scholarship. We call this our Dean Scholarship. So when you receive your acceptance letter, you also will receive a scholarship letter. But first, you need to go log into your admitted student portal or your application portal. You need to click on accepting your decision. So once you click on accepting your decision or accepting your seat, you will move forward and paying your $100 enrollment fee. There's different maps and different avenues, as you can see. So if you're a domestic student, your pathway is a little bit different than an international student. Since international students do need to request and apply for I-20. There were some transfer questions as well. So during the application process, we do not require official transcripts. We do take unofficial transcripts. When in that time comes, when you are applying for an I-20, we do request official transcripts. Along the line, after all these steps are done and you have your I-20 scheduled, you've submitted your health report, then orientation is planned, and that is separate from our admissions office, and then you will receive follow-up communication on how to schedule your orientation attendance. Next slide, please. Along that, so I know there were some students that said, can I still apply? Absolutely, you can still apply. And for students that have been accepted to a different campus and that want to get redirected to Miami, you could do so as well. After our session, I am going to put our admissions email in the chat box. That is where you will email us requesting that you would like to switch your original campus to the Miami campus, and a member in our admissions team will follow up with you, and you will receive a new updated letter with the campus transfer on your application. So for any students that are still thinking of applying, these are our deadlines. For international students, our deadline is June 1st. For international students that are based in United States already, your application deadline is August 1st. I do advise to submit your application sooner than later, since specifically for the IS program, it is a very competitive, very popular program. So there is an influx of applications that come in. We want to make sure that you have a decision, as well as making sure that you are scheduled, especially if you have to schedule an interview appointment or a visa appointment, all of those, there's enough time from the day you get your acceptance and then from that period on forward. And then, of course, for the spring terms, they haven't been open yet, but they will be opening up in the summer. Next slide, please. So these are some tricks and tips that we have at the university, especially for COE. So when you do submit your application, our MS program isn't on-rolling admissions decision. PhD is not. I know there were some PhD questions. The Miami campus currently at the moment does not offer PhD programs. However, this is Northeastern, and we are working on expanding our network. So unfortunately, at this moment in time, for any PhD questions, they need to be directed to our admissions inbox. We only offer PhD currently at our Boston campus, specifically for COE. Also, when you're submitting your application to Northeastern, you could apply to more than just one program. So that is something that we do advise students to do, that although you may not get accepted to one program or to that one campus, there is a possibility for you to get accepted to another campus, as well as get redirected to another campus. And then, of course, if you are a student that does not meet the information systems background, like Nicholas stated, that there is the bridge program, and that's specifically for students that don't have an engineering background that can apply to it. And then, of course, there's always multiple other additional events that we do host at Northeastern. And then you could also connect with our student ambassador, which are current Northeastern students. Then you could ask some specific questions you have about just Northeastern as a general, the student life, campus programs, or anything along those lines. Next slide, please. And then, so this is what our admissions requirements are. I know there are some application fee waiver questions asked. So that is the application fee waiver you would use for any new student applying to Northeastern University. This fee waiver code is specifically only for the College of Engineering. So if you're applying for another college within Northeastern University, that code is not applicable. So just be mindful. I'm gonna let this sit on the screen for a bit. So just take a screenshot or a picture of it. The way you see it on the screen is the way it needs to be typed. It is capital A and it is a capital COE. So our fee waiver code is apply COE 2024. We require 2 letters of recommendation, unofficial transcripts, statement of purpose, your resume. Our GREs are optional. So you want to make sure you click off that you will not be submitting GRE. If you are a student that clicks on submitting a GRE and you don't provide them later, your application unfortunately will stay incomplete and we cannot make the edits to it. So make sure you click off you will not be submitting a GRE. And then for any of our international students, these are the 3 English proficiency exams we take. We do accept IELTS, TOEFL, and Duolingo's. So just let that sit again. That is our fee waiver code. So it's apply COE 2024. So when you are in the application portal, you do want to click off that you do have an application fee waiver code, and that is what you will type in. And then just connecting with our campus. Although we are a global campus, there are members throughout the team that are available for you. So you could reach out to recruitment@northeastern.edu and we will get connected with a local campus advisor. So specifically for Miami, that is the email address you would use. I will put in our COE general admissions inbox, especially for the students that have asked for campus transfer. And then, of course, there's always upcoming events. Northeastern and April 22nd, COE is hosting Wonder Week. So that's a specific way you could also just join a specific webinar just about information systems that will highlight the Miami campus and the course structure of that program as well. And then I'm just gonna open it up for Q&A. I definitely know there are a few Q&A questions that did come in.
And I'm going to answer one of the questions that popped up real quick about the Miami campus. And the campus is brand new. We just opened in September. So we don't have any graduates of the Miami campus yet because we're still in our first year. So because we're in the first year, we haven't finished their curriculum yet. They're just going to start doing their co-ops this upcoming fall because we opened it up to mostly graduate students. So we do not have those numbers yet because they don't exist. We're too new. This past year we opened up the campus to an intake of 8 or 9 students total. Our goal for this upcoming fall is to be somewhere in the 50 to 60 range for students as we continue to grow. We're not trying to outgrow our infrastructure by bringing in 500 students with just 10 or 11 employees. So we're trying to match our student population with our infrastructure that we currently have in place. So that's why our numbers, we're looking for 50 or 60 this year, and then to grow it up to about, mid 100s the year after that, and grow incrementally and not too much, because then that affects the student experience. But yeah, we don't have any students that have started their co-ops yet. That'll begin in the fall, and we don't have any graduates yet because we just started the program. And then I saw about housing costs in Miami. I'll answer that one too. So it depends on where you live. If you're looking in the area near campus, which is Wynwood, it can be a bit pricey. Even for a studio apartment, you're going to look at something in the $1,600 to $1,800 a month range. If you move a little bit further south, you might find something more in the $1,200 to $1,400 a month range. But our partnerships person, Kevin Ruiz, is our director of partnerships, is working with one of the new apartment buildings on getting quads saved for our students. So that would be apartments that have 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, or tries, which are 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, which we can reserve. And I think if he gets it at the price point we're looking at, it would be about $1,100 a month per student that lives in there for the duration of the school year, and give you the opportunity to sublet it over the summer if you're not going to stay in Miami. So that's something we're working on, but we don't have confirmation on that just yet.
Thank you. I know there's a lot of questions regarding tuition, so I'm gonna put in the chat box. There is our tuition and fee structure link, and that will direct you there. There are also some scholarship advice for students that are looking for scholarships along that piece. But currently, our tuition, the cost of credit is $1,801. So if you just times that by the number of credits your program is, so it's about 35 credits. Take that sum, you times that by 0.25, you subtract it. So on average, you're looking about $45,000. But of course, these are just estimated numbers. The link that I've shared with you is there. And also, when you do apply for the Miami campus, and if you do get accepted, you automatically will receive a letter that states that you are receiving the 25% scholarship. For students that are asking how long the duration of the program is, honestly, that is up to you. How, like Nick stated, there's co-op, right? And co-op is not something that is mandatory. Co-op is an optional thing you could add to your degree. We highly do encourage students to add co-op to their curriculum, only because it gives you real life experience, it gives you work that you can add to your resume and expand your portfolio. Co-op varies in various forms, in the sense there are 3-month, 6-month, and 9-month co-ops. So that is something that you could look into at a later time. Another thing about co-op is you cannot start right away with co-op. You have to wait a year. So you have to you have to take courses for a year and then you can start co-op right after.
And somebody asked in the chat, how is NEU Miami better than Boston that we choose Miami? Well, we don't like to say any campus is better than any because the curriculums are the same. Like it's an extension of the Boston campus, just in a different market. So it's not that we're better than Boston or Boston is better than us. It's really, one, can Boston squeeze you in? Two, what's your preference for, Boston is a big campus. It's huge. There's, I want to say, upwards of 20,000 students there. It takes over the entire city that's there. It's massive. Our campus is much smaller and intimate. It's different climates. It's different groups of people that live there. So it's not to say one's better than the other. They're just different and they're in different markets. So you kind of have to choose what's best for you as a student, what, city you'd rather live in. If you'd rather be in a campus of 20,000 or a campus of 50 or 60, where you can live. It's a matter of comfort and preference. It's not better because it's the same faculty that's developing the curriculum. It's the same, Harsh works out of a different campus than I do, but we're both recruiting the same thing. Like, we're not, there's neither that's better. They're both elite. So the bats, I won't speak for Harsh when it comes to Boston, but for Miami, for MSIS for the fall, we're looking at about 15 students that we're looking to start the program with us. We already have a number of them confirmed, but our goal for intake is roughly somewhere in the 10 to 20 range to get started.
And something I also like to always iterate, and I know there's always that uncertainty of like starting at a new campus. But take it as a privilege, like you get to be the first cohort and you get to leave a legacy on a campus and you get to start a foundation for other of your colleagues that do decide to come, right? So you are technically a senior. Something I definitely would say is the curriculum that's taught at Miami is no different than the curriculum that is taught in Boston or Seattle or in Vancouver or London. The curriculum is the same. The only difference that you may have is the faculty. Some of our courses are also live streamed. So although the faculty may not physically be in the Miami campus, they will be in a different campus, but the courses are happening at the same time. So you could even meet students in different campuses. So I know there's always that hesitation of like, oh, is my program going to be virtual all the time? No, it's all of our programs are hand ground. They're on ground and they're also hands on because our program is STEM. So there is accreditation to it. So I know a lot of students do ask if our programs are STEM based, and they are, which also helps with the OPT after for international students post graduation.
And there's a question I get a lot, and it's to piggyback on what Harsh just said. When you graduate, your degree does not say Northeastern Miami or Northeastern Boston or Northeastern Seattle. It just says Northeastern University. So it's not like your degree's gonna be specific to the campus you were at. And the reason behind that is the curriculum remains the same. So whether it's taught in Seattle or Miami, it's the same curriculum. It's all under the new Northeastern guidelines. So your degree will say Northeastern University on it.
We're getting a lot of these international IELTS questions. So I'm going to put in the chat what the countries that are waived for like TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo's. If you are an international student that has completed your undergraduate degree in the states of the United States, you are not required to take an English proficiency exam. As well as the countries that I've posted in the chat, that's the waiver countries. So if you are from one of these countries, you are not required to also submit an English language proficiency. Although, let's say if you submitted your application, while your application is being reviewed, you will be notified, like, unfortunately, your application at this point in time is being put on hold due to the following requirements that we need. So you will be communicated if we do require if we require an English proficiency exam for you. In the chat, I'm also going to put our admissions inbox email address for the students that want to switch their accepted program campus to the Miami campus. So you will need to email us with that request. All right, I think we've answered all of them. And there's no more questions in the chat box. So I just advise students to just copy and paste the links and the email that's in the chat box so you guys communicate with us. And definitely visit our pages on our online and website, because there's always events happening, both virtual, in person. Like Nick stated, he's always on the road because it's also hard for me to get hold of him. So Miami is always busy for us. We have campuses across the globe, and we also have other representatives. So you don't hesitate to reach out to us at any point in time. So great question for students that are requesting if they're ready to start a year at a different campus and want to transfer to Miami. No, unfortunately, you cannot do so. You would have to start this. The way the MSIS program is built out, they encourage students to complete the program where they are. So for students that are looking to apply, I'm going to put the apply link in the chat box. So this is where you will apply to Northeastern. When you do submit your application, just be mindful to make sure that you click off that you do have a fee waiver code, so you don't have to pay the $100 application fee.
And then I'll answer the final question about the co-op scenario and on-campus jobs. Co-op, we do have, I want to say 40 or 50 partners already lined up in Miami for students when it's time for them to do their co-ops. If you're starting in the fall, you wouldn't potentially do your co-op until fall 2025. My brain is not mathing right now, but fall 2025. By that point, we'll have much more set up. For on-campus jobs, we did just get approved for a student ambassador role for one of the other colleges that had an intake for this past fall. Since this is our first intake for MSIS, we'll have to wait for that intake to come in, and then we can get approved for a student ambassador role there. We don't have any TA roles just yet because we're not large enough of a campus to have a TA, but we will have student ambassador roles available once we get our intake going.
Perfect. Thank you. In the chat box, I did put in the YouTube link. That is where you will find us. And any other questions you have, please don't hesitate to email our admissions inbox. And we once again like to thank you for your attendance.
Everybody have a good day. Thank you, Harsh. Everybody have a good
Thanks.
day.